All right. Evening, Travis. How you doing? Yeah, it feels like it's been a while. I went on a business trip and missed last Thursday. Obviously, we're planning the game jam now, but haven't been live in a while. How's work treating you? I know it was stressing you out to the max last time I talked to you. Yeah, and you are here. It seems like a rare occurrence that we're both online at the same time. Let's see. 6 days until glitch. Basically 0. Still stressing you out. Ugh. Well, what's going on? Is it like staff turnover or like changes going on? Is there any end in sight to the madness? Yeah, I think I know what you mean. I've seen some of those roles filled by employers like that. So I have to imagine it comes with its own unique set of challenges. But hats off to you for doing it. Um, all right, I gotta get myself back in the mindset here a little bit. I think I was working on the blood tower, and I'd put in a resource bar on it. Let me see if it's still in the game. Okay, so the resource bar fills up quickly. And it also doesn't delete. Why is it not deleting? So let's take a look into that. I need to rename this scene. You want to say hi?
Hey guys, I'm not feeling good today because I had PE, and we were playing some scooters game. Not these scooters, but the flat ones where you have to use your feet and you have to like sit on them, and then you have to push with your feet. Those. What's up, Code? Yeah, but sorry I didn't get to do the intro because I've just been feeling sick, and plus I was feeling lightheaded. And one of my friends, I asked him if he was okay because he kind of got sick. Then he said, my throat hurts. And he said that he's been coughing. And then, so we have Stardew Valley. when we were playing that, I started to cough too. So I think him and me are feeling like the exact same way. So
Yeah.
yeah, hope I do get feeling better soon.
Yeah. Why don't you get some rest? Get some rest and get feeling better.
Yeah, but I won't be back till next Friday or whatever. So I'll see you guys later. So peace. Night.
Have a good one. That map is the first map you saw of this game. You haven't been able to work. Code says bye. You haven't been able to work on much of anything. What you'd give to have time to create a couple of assets for the game jam. Yeah, man. You know, and I know you're talking about some apprehension about getting into game jams, which is completely normal, by the way. You know, I waited till I was 30 plus to do my first jam. And yeah, so I think, you know, I actually had something in mind for you, specifically for you, if you're interested. So when it comes to the jams, and there's no commitment here, but let's see if itch will load for me. Okay, there we go. Let's go to jams. And let's see, can we look at one that's ended here real quick? Jams submitted. So like, let's see, here was a GDevelop jam. Let's look at the submissions. So obviously putting the game together and making the game work logically is necessary. And then having the game play itself look good and sound good is necessary. But the thumbnail, there's a lot of incentive for everyone to play a lot of games and to give them ratings. But it's also really hard to get a lot of plays. And so a really good thumbnail to help it pop off of a page like this would pay dividends. And it's just, you know, like a 600 by 600 or something like that. Not very big. Would you be interested in doing that? Obviously, we won't know the theme yet or anything like that. But it doesn't even need to be made of in-game assets. It could just be pure concept art. But it would have a huge impact. I'm not even sure which one did I do for this one. I'm not even sure if I did a submission on this particular jam, but I know I did. It was probably the tower defense. Awesome. Yeah, we'll give you the theme. We're waiting on the theme, so we don't know yet. But like that would be like probably lowish level of effort for someone of your caliber, and then high impact. Yeah, code probably 2D just because it's such a short amount of time. Unless, like, I would prefer not to be the lead developer if we do 3D. So for that reason, I think 2D. But if someone wants to take the lead on the development, I'd be happy to take the back seat and do 3D. Yeah, I haven't either. It's been on my to-do list, but not only because of procrastination, not only, but because I know GDevelop is developing, and the longer I wait, the more fleshed out their 3D system will be. So that's really what I'm waiting on. If I really wanted 3D, I would probably do like Unity or something right now. Or Unreal. But yeah, so I think 2D, and I think if we can, obviously we need to have an actual meeting with the whole group, but jams in general, you want like a really micro game with a really fun little twist. So if we can figure that out, slap a good thumbnail on there. At that point, I wouldn't even be worried too much about the in-game assets, because I think if it's fun enough, and we obviously have the soundtrack coming for us from someone who knows what they're doing there. Join as a group of individuals. Everybody needs to join. You just need to click that join button. So let's see, where is it? If you go here on this page, there would be a button right there. You just need to join it as an individual, like you said. And then when we submit it, one person submits the game files, which I will probably do that. But then I'll tag everybody who is involved. And since you'll have accounts on here, you can be tagged. Travis, definitely will do. Thanks, man. Thanks for your interest. Yeah, don't forget. Okay. Okay, I was working on the resource bar thingy for the blood tower. So we put it into the game. It fills up super quickly. Trying to double check how much light that took. It also doesn't delete when I delete the tower, so I need to fix that. 984. Okay, so I think I told it. The maximum value of bar... Let's see, change the maximum value of bar blood tower charge. Warms your heart every time you see that mouse cursor. It's a good cursor. It's a good cursor. I think it should be like a special unlock. Or something like that. Is it? Sounds like I just missed the heat wave. It was actually pretty great last week, wasn't it? By the way, I went down to the cliffs of Dover. One of the places I went for my work was near there. It was actually near Sandwich, which I had a sandwich in Sandwich, England. And then went down to the cliffs of Dover. I couldn't help myself because I loved the song so much. But it was pretty neat seeing France across the water. Like the fact that you can see France from across the water. Okay, I'm setting this value of the bar to global blood tower max charge. Let me see where do I have that? It's a global variable. Well, it's right here. So we'd set that to global max light value divided by 20. So what is global max light value set to? That is set to global. Light. Should be 2000. Let me fire up the game real quick and double check this. 14 to 17, but the last few days have been 27 plus with no wind. That's pretty hot. Let me double check something here. Oh my gosh, I can't spell this. So if you're at, let's say 14 to 17. But 27 plus, you said. So that would be closer to 80 over here. With no wind, yeah, that could be pretty hot. Especially coming out of winter. Midsummer, I'd say that's not too bad, but coming out of winter, you're not ready for it yet. We, locally here, actually quite a bit of the Midwest has been slammed with rain. We got like, I don't know what we got here specifically this past couple of days, but it's been like somewhere in the 4 to 8 inches of rain. Pretty nuts. So now it's going to be hot and humid. You had this idea for an FPS game. Not planning on making it though, even though it would be fun. What's the idea for the game? Yeah, and it is humid over there because they're an island nation. Okay, so let's see. I wanted to look at the debugger. So I need to go here. Specifically, I wanted to look at the global variable, just double check the light max value. It is 2000. Um, 100. Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? I'm just wondering why it's not drawing that much. Let's see. You're calling the game. Is that pronounced Amicus? Like old school Unreal. Nice. I like the old school Unreal feel. Heck yes. Bring them back. Honestly, making one of those compared to making like a modern style FPS, I think would actually be quite a bit more doable in something like GDevelop. Or any engine. Nice. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a fun project to work on. But you said you're not going to be doing it yourself. That would be pretty great. Unreal would 100% be perfect for it. That'd be hilarious, though. Yeah, I did some. So, pop quiz. What's your favorite Unreal game? Like, do you like the tournaments or do you like the like Unreal Gold? Just straight up Unreal. Yeah, I probably could build the gun and stuff in Blender. It would all come down. Honestly, if you're going for that kind of look and feel, it would be super easy in Blender because they had low poly, and then you just put on like a really. I mean, it depends on how crappy you're trying to make it look, but you could put like a really low res texture on it too, you know. But it's really capable of adding rust and stuff. Yeah, well, back in 1998, I mean, like, let me see, what's the timeline for FPSs? Because you had, obviously, Doom was it was superseded by Quake. Let me see. And Halo came a little after those. All right, so Doom 93, Quake 96, Unreal 98. So yeah, I mean, following Quake and Doom, Unreal was really top notch. Quickly followed by Halo. Yeah, yeah. And you just like to Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem was in there. Duke Nukem was like, it was like a, I don't know, it's like a grungy, gritty, it almost had like a 1980s action film vibe, even though it was like a 90s game. Yep, GoldenEye and Turok. Have y'all played what's the Doom? One of the more recent Dooms. I know they're coming out with a brand new one, but I'm not talking about that one. Let me double check your this Doom 27 no store page. Gosh, it's already 2016. Time flies. It's obviously these graphics, right? Pretty darn realistic, but you can unlock. Oh, you played it? Nice. So you can unlock the original levels, or at least portions of original levels. So you go from this super high res to original Doom graphics in the same game, like side by side, and it kind of makes your eyes go crossed. And then they also did this thing where in the game here, when you walk up to these corpses, it's just one sprite and it's always facing you because it's simulated 3D. It's not really 3D. So the sprites just always face you. So if you turn this way, it turns as well. So from the camera's perspective, you just always see the same sprite. But in Doom 2016, you can walk around and you can look up and down and you can see them sideways where they just are infinitely thin. Yeah, billboard. Thanks. Pretty hilarious. Okay. Change the maximum value. So the maximum value should be 200 then. But so that's the maximum value of bar blood tower. So we've got 1000 light. If I turn this into a blood tower, it's going to draw 16. That doesn't seem right. What if I hard code this? No. Oh. Wait, why am I changing it up here? I need to change this when the thing is created. Let's try it like this. I'm right there with you, Crinsada. I think it's really great. Not because it's like the most realistic, but because of the feel. It's a completely different style. Okay, that one worked. All right, there we go. Let's see. I would like to center it a little bit more. In fact, let me change this back to, what was it? That. So there's the variable. Blood tower max charge. You watched a video the other day of an American reaction to the Blitz in London? Are you talking about a historical event? Now I'm questioning myself. I think I need to go over. Okay, World War II. Yeah, no, I did know about that. Was the video that you watched? Yeah, I mean, our history is the way we learn our history is a little bit sketchy. They definitely block out things that we should be learning, but yeah, they did tell us that. But was the video that you watched like an American who had no idea or something like that? Like a really ignorant American? Would not be surprised. All right, we're gonna call that good enough, and then it looks really pink. How many colors is that? Hmm. It's kind of a lot. He was just shocked on the scale of it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's pretty hard to imagine, isn't it? For those privileged enough to not experience that. Maybe what I'll do is bar blood tower charge. Bar. Maybe it won't let me. Tint color. Doesn't look like it's gonna let me tint it. So maybe there's something else I can do. A 2D scrolling shooter like R-Type. That's definitely doable. Let me think. Not color replace. Tell you what, I'm going to go to the image and download it real quick. Sometimes if you just try to copy a game, like set out to copy a game, and then you get it all, largely built out, ideas for like twists and hooks will often present themselves, often in the form of unanticipated bugs and unintended behaviors that show up as like really fun and interesting ideas. You never know. Actually, what was that? What was the image called? What I'm doing is I'm just coloring the Blood Tower resource bar more of a bloody red color instead of this pinkish. So that is shaded red fill bar. Right here. So I'm going to download that. An unlock system that lets you build the next... Wait, that lets you build the level? That'd be pretty cool. So you choose enemy. Windows got rid of the thing that lets you go straight to your desktop. Yeah, it was the that little button on the bottom right, wasn't it? All right, should be good here. Let's go back to gdevelop. Let's replace that. Choose the file. And apply. Let's see if it looks any better. It's pretty weird looking at the start. Something about the frame or something. Let me see. Is it the shadow? No, shadow's not enabled. Maybe it's the margin. So these are set to 8. What happens if I get rid of the margins? I've never really played around with those. Yeah, it was the margin. You're looking forward to the Wayward Realms. Nice. I might have to check it out. Well, it's probably valid. Why did it get so dark up here? What do you think about a game like Where's Waldo, but set in medieval times? You're a guard that's tasked with spotting people in a village each day. The village is active though, so they move around. It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Pretty interesting. Okay, so there's that. And then let me go back to my drawing board here real quick. Absorbs over 10 seconds. Cannot absorb if currency is set. So let's see, it's currently charging probably faster than I want it to. How many seconds approximately is this taking? 4 to 5. Really want it to take a little bit longer. So let's see. I think I need to go to miscellaneous objects. I said plus equals 0.5. So if we want to double that, in theory it would be 0.25. 0.25. Let's see if that doubled the time it takes to fill. Looks like it. Looks like it. And then I think we need to put like a glow or something on there whenever it's charged and ready to go. Or maybe not. Maybe it just needs to do its thing. So shot hits enemy. Enemy is tagged. Hadn't quite decided how I was going to have this thing fire off. Whether it be a missile or a beam. I was kind of thinking a beam though, or something that's like instantaneous. The blood tower is kind of like a debuff tower. So what it's going to do is it's going to charge up over time, over say 10 seconds, and it requires currency. So it eats your currency, hence the blood, the sacrifice. But once it's charged, it'll hit a single enemy. And then when a condition is met, such as that enemy dies, it will explode in a radius, and all the enemies around it are now also tagged. And when they die, they'll explode too. So it's chain reactive. Shape Painter, Blood Tower. All right, and then a spray of blood. Yeah, I mean, we could do something like that. The only... And maybe there's like a secondary fire type for the tower, but for this first one, it's really just implanting a single projectile into a single enemy. So a spray, a continuous spray might not fit the theme, but if I have like a secondary fire, maybe that would be more suitable. Unless it's just like a single spray, like just a single, like a water gun squirt or something. A dev made Spot the Object games on stream, like a live stream, or on Steam. Most only having one level that's normally AI generated, but they made loads of money. It's crazy, isn't it? You never know what's gonna hit and what's not. Which is really why they say if you're interested in making a living doing this stuff, do put out a lot of different ideas. A lot of different games. Yeah, we definitely need some sort of a particle effect going on here with this. Games where you're a cactus and that's it. It's mind-blowing. That's insane. I played a solid number of hours on this game. Let me see. See if it's still on the internet. Stupid ad. Alright, so let's see if the blood tower charge is greater than or equal to the max. Then we'll say if there are enemies on the scene. I guess for starters, we can just pick the nearest one. Oh yeah, Sauron. Yeah, in the movie you really only see him as this eye, so I think there are theories that he was actually in physical form during the Lord of the Rings. If we're talking Peter Jackson's movies, the book could be think the book is completely different. But they think he might have actually been in his tower, and that the great eye on top of the tower was more like a scrying object for him. Because they had a cut scene in the third movie, if you remember, when Aragorn's fighting that troll out right in front of the Black Gate. He's fighting that troll. They had a cut scene where they had a really unfinished CGI version of him fighting Sauron in the flesh. But I think they decided that it would be less. I think they decided it would take away from Sauron if they had him come out. I don't know. What do you think? And yes, go definitely looking forward to the jam. Can't wait. What is going on with this thing? How many ads are there? This game right here. I sunk a lot of hours into this back in college. Let's see if it... There it goes. Kitty cannon. Sauron, in the end of the story in the book, is a spirit of malevolence. Yeah, talking about dumb games that got a lot of hours. This is one of them. And this is a perfect idea of a Game Jam submission, by the way. So Game Jam thinks, in terms of scale, think this. One mechanic only. One button push per play. Scorch was your most played? Nice. Yeah, it was edgy. And that was in the Internet 1.0 days too. Or early 2.0. All right, this is going to be... Tower dot... Not tower, tower base. Dot center X and center Y. But I'll also need to make sure that it's linked. Yeah, man, you're getting that itch again. That's what happens to us game devs. Can't help it. Can't help it. It's coming for you. Yeah, do it, man. I mean, get your basic environment set up. If you're doing an Unreal, you're gonna have, you know, the player capsule with a gun. And they have the FPS starter template. I strongly suggest that rather than try to make everything from scratch. But then build on top of that. Put in your Blender work, whatever. All right, this is what I'm looking for. My goodness, took forever. Just trying to steal some of my own code. Now I need to go back to yeah, what was that one? What was that gun? Cerebral bore. Yeah. You could definitely do this. And even if you're making your own assets, I mean, if you're trying to mimic the look very closely, like the barrel itself is just a rectangle, like a rectangular block. Okay, there's that. And then now, actually I want to speed it up a little bit while I'm testing this though, because it's taking forever. Yeah, yeah. No, I get you. Not a one for one make remake, but I think it'll be pretty easy to capture that style if you stick to basic shapes that aren't really meant to be that basic. Yeah, and you're right about the gun. Definitely. Yeah, let's speed this up a little bit. So let's do 0.75, almost instant. All right, so the targeting seems to be working. It's waiting until it's charged up. It's only working for one tower though. Yeah, is all about that pay to win. You know, just get the people into his game to give him that monetary income and then bounce. You know, that's his agenda. That's all he's about. I mean, he charged me $40 for this ebook that was blank on the inside. Like, I opened up the ebook and all it was a big middle finger. I was like, that's not very nice. Kidding, obviously. Let's see, why is only one of these working? You meant to charge me for that. You know, I got it was a secondhand book. A buddy gave it to me, so. Okay, the blood tower charge bar for each one of those. If the value is greater than or equal to the max charge, if the number of enemies on the scene is greater than 0, then take into account all bar blood tower charge linked to tower base. That's probably the event that's kind of tripping it up a little bit. No, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't gotten very far into it, but I've been enjoying it so far, definitely. And now I'm wondering though, you said you made a couple of updates. I wonder if I need to I wonder if those updates apply to my Kindle library or if I need to do something about that. I don't know how that works. Yeah, that's not a bad approach, Code. But and honestly, for the mobile game market, people tend to be okay with you have two types of people, maybe three types. You have the people who just absolutely refuse to ever spend a dime on a mobile game at all ever. And obviously that's not your target audience if you're trying to make a living on mobile games, unless you're doing pure ads. The other type, which is probably more what I would fall into, is I don't buy games on mobile. I don't think I ever buy a game. I will play a game that's free to play, and it's mostly generally free to win as well. But then maybe there are quality of life elements that I can pay for, such as removing the ads. And if I love the game enough, I will happily give them the $6 or whatever to remove the ads, which is in effect saying thank you for making the game. I've already sunk 100+ hours into it. Here's $6. And to me, that's worth it. And then, of course, you have the other people who just throw money out left and right. It's whatever. You said, unfortunately, it doesn't, but it's just a couple minor typo fixes and a new cover. Fair enough. I'll just finish with the version that I have then. And I'll let you know, too, when I do finish it. I'm in the middle of a couple of books, which I already don't give myself enough time for reading. But I'll let you know, and I'll give you some feedback as well, if you like. Okay, so I think this seems to be the issue. So what I need to do then, let's look at this. Because I think it's probably drawing multiple lines. So we've got one here and one here. Okay, let me go back up to the Holy Tower, because those have this down to a science. Draw from. So here we said if there are these Towerhead holies on the scene, then repeat for each one, if not frozen. And then if a variable was true, pick the enemy that's nearest to the tower head and draw it. Whereas down here, I'm dealing with taking account linkage. So why don't we try... Am I creating a draw object for each tower? Yes. I'm not sure what you mean actually by object. I am drawing from each tower using a shape painter object. And I'm doing it probably a more complicated way than I need to. So this logic is based on the bar, the resource bar. And I just wanted to say when the resource bar is full, then to draw the line. And then, yeah, painter object. You're good. But I didn't necessarily want it to draw from there. So I wanted it to draw from the tower that the bar is linked to, because it would make more visual sense. And I think it's struggling with that part of it. So I could go about this the other way and say, from the tower base, if the linked bar is full, then draw the line from the tower base. Yeah, that's a good question. I was reading back through chat. You're looking for a gun. What you have is the bullet gun. What it does is low damage and slows down the enemies. Lots of ideas there. I mean, are you wanting one that also still slows them down? Oops, I think I got rid of the wrong one here. So no, it's getting too dark to see. There, I'll just add some light with my dev hacks. All right, so we destroyed that one. And yes, another one does start working. Well, another one did start working. There it goes. Yeah, probably a link issue for sure. It's the one gun you don't have a good idea for. What about like a freezing grenade launcher or something like that? Is that kind of ballpark what you're thinking? like fire a projectile that has a proximity and applies slow in that regard? Fire spider nest. It sounds awful. Oh, nice. Be right back. Getting a little chilly. The Widowmaker. take into account linked painter. Oh, where in the code do I create and link the painters? I think I probably misspoke. I'm not actually creating multiple painters. I actually just have one already in the scene up here. I have all my painters out here, just one instance each. And I'm using those to give the color and all that. So it's just off screen, you don't really see them. No, you don't actually need one for each. So, because like, for example, for the Holy Tower, I can have multiple versions of those and multiple instances of those and not require multiple painter objects. See, just one painter object off screen, off scene. I guess both are correct. So I've gotten away with it so far. I mean, you would think so. Fire at different times and blood is constant. It's a good question. Let me think. I'm trying to remember. I think early on in testing, I had the Holy Towers shooting constantly. And I don't think I ran into an issue. But we could test this. Let's figure it out. I mean, I don't blame you. It's definitely not the most intuitive thing to not need multiple all the time. But all right, let's take a look here. So it'll be draw from. Let's see if that makes it constant. Hopefully, I mean, hopefully so. Hopefully this can help you. Yeah, I mean, there you go. And I don't create it with code at all. I just have it plopped out there in the scene somewhere. I don't even know how I figured that out. Heck yeah, man. And Crinsada, definitely let us know when you draw it. Put it in the chat. The Widowmaker. Oh, I didn't even know you'd begun work on the other game again. I think you can do it. Just do whatever you want, but if it were me and I were you, just get into Unreal, I think, because you already started, you have some practice with Unreal. Get in there, open up the first person shooter template game, and start putting in your props. And then I think, obviously you would probably like disable looking around, like on a pivot, and it'd probably just be more like you can look side to side, you can strafe left and right, and you can squat up and down. So reduce the movement a little bit to make it more old school. Something like that. And that'll be your, put a target to shoot at and some sort of a score. Yeah, like Unreal 1998. You gotta limit that movement. In other words, don't put a whole lot into the game. Just get your little vertical slice of a level. Then you can distribute it on shareware CDs or floppy disks if you like. Did it have the full look? Maybe I'm thinking of Quake. So you could look literally everywhere from your position, right? Yeah, you must be right. Okay. Yeah, we can do that code. I mean, there are some conditions, but I think it'll be just enough to make it work. Let's find out. Okay. What if we do... I don't actually know her. I saw her post on the GDevelop Discord. And so I took her up on her offer. So looking forward to working with her. Yeah, definitely good. I enjoy it. You know, talking to you guys, talking to other people, other artists, other programmers. It sharpens a person up. It's a lot of fun. All right, man. Well, good luck. Thanks for hopping on the stream, and we'll chat again soon. So, good luck tomorrow. Yeah, how did the tabletop playtest go? Oh, I need a for each in here. There we go. We can make it happen. Nice. Sounds pretty awesome. I'm glad it worked out. And now you charge them for it. You should just like stand there and read off some advertisements and tell them if they want you to shut up, they got to pay you. Okay. Draw a line. So now what we can do is start to add in conditions. So let's do a check. Was that with like local friends or like with like publicly hosting a DM session? I mean a D&D session. It's a lot of work, to be sure. Okay, so we were looking at these conditions. So the bar blood tower charge. We wanted to say that. Oh, gotcha. Well, that makes sense. No, that makes perfect sense. It's pretty cool that you did that. There you go. It's D&D. It's like Airbnb, but Air D&D. Charging for your space. All right, let's see. I think I'm pretty close. I think I want to add an ID to each object. So Tower upgrade buttons. Right here. Yeah, glad you could pick up that little tidbit. It's always the funniest things. I always enjoy adding a new little piece to my repertoire. Like, I could see that happening. I mean, you would think that you need one per instance. And again, I'm not even sure how I figured that out. It was probably by accident or something. But yeah, I mean, it seems like just a piece of logic to say what color to use and all that stuff, but that you don't actually need. You obviously don't need one per instance. So, which makes it a little odd then that you have to have it out on the scene to begin with. Yeah, I'll take all the little things I can get to reduce lag or latency. Yeah, so I have that. I'm using that approach for every single one. So all, what I guess 9 so far. Okay. I'm going to add, actually I'm going to change a variable. Actually, that could probably be set to could probably just be set to the tower base ID. Yeah, honestly, I don't really know. Does it create separate painters? I mean, the shape painter object is just an empty invisible object that allows us to display shapes drawn using events. When you add an action to an event, select shape painter. Yeah, we know that. So for example, if you're going to draw a rectangle, blah, blah, blah. collisions can be detected by the Shape Painter object. Shape Painter objects are unique in that the collision mask is based on what the Shape Painter has drawn. The collision mask of a Shape Painter is the smallest rectangle that can be drawn around all points that the Shape Painter has drawn. Yeah, it's a weird one. It seems like your instances, like your separate painters, are not the Shape Painter. Your separate instances seem to be the drawings, if I had to guess. Because each drawing has its own collisions. Something like that. Yeah, I'm sure it does suck. Okay, so there's that, and then go down. All right, so if the IDs match, then if the value of the bar is at max charge, let's see if this works. That makes sense. Yeah, I've turned that on before. It's frightening. All right, I think I have this working. Now I just need to... I mean, honestly, it's supposed to be pretty instantaneous. So let me go down to where we have the resource bar itself. So it would draw, and then it would need to, like... How do I do this? Because visually I'd want it to last long enough for the eye to see. Yeah, I'm trying to make it an interesting risk reward. The rest of the towers are pretty simplistic, really. So hopefully it's fun. I think we're going to do a timer here. Maybe an object timer on the bar. And then when it gets to this point, it'll start that timer. It'll be display. The timer. No, why did I say that? Not if it's paused. We want to We actually want to start or reset the timer here. So timer, bar. No, that's the wrong bar. There we go. So we're going to start or reset the timer display of the bar, and then completely separately, if that timer is at 0.2 seconds, then we will set the value back to 0. And probably pause that timer. Although I could see that being a problem too. I wonder if it needs to be start. I wonder if it needs to be reset and then immediately paused. Okay, well, that's not doing anything. Could do it here. Tell you what, I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to sleep on it. But we're getting really, really close. So next we'll come back and we'll... you want to charge, shoot, reset? Yeah, basically that. So charge, shoot for, you know, a very short amount of time, but something long enough to see, such as 0.2 seconds, and then reset. So when it starts to shoot, I tell it to start this timer. Then repeat for each instance of the bar. If the timer is greater than or equal to 0.3 seconds, change the value of the bar to 0. And if the value of the bar is less than the max value, then this other condition should start to fill it up. Hey, it's George. Hey man, just caught you. I was about to bounce, and then I started looking into something with code here. How's your Friday going, man? Thanks for hopping on the stream. I'm glad to hear it. Hopefully the future is treating you all right over there. You have any plans for May the 4th? Just trying to get a lot of stuff before 6. Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. Yeah, I got to get that Friday work done. May 6th and 7th are holidays. Nice. Well, what kind of plans do you have? Doing any travel for them, or you have people coming over? The 5th and the 6th. The bar value delay set to 0. Right on. Well, hopefully that's pretty enjoyable for you all. Code, what do you mean there? The bar value delay set to 0. Yeah, it's 0. There's a paid review opportunity. You should apply if you have time. Cool. Is that in the Discord, or do I go straight to, how do I get into that? Awesome. Yeah, I see. In fact, I see the announcement. I think. All right, see giveaway tab. Oh, gotcha. That's the one. Cool, man. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I hadn't looked into that yet, so appreciate your vote of confidence. I will apply, and yeah, thanks for the opportunity. It sounds like we're still waiting on a. Are we still waiting on a key for Imperial as well? Cool. Yeah, just checking. Just making sure I didn't miss anything myself, but no rush. Yeah, hopefully so. Looking forward to it. All right. Yeah, man. I think I'm going to have to. Sometimes you throw spaghetti at the wall and it does not stick. But we're getting close. This is the last tower for this part of the game, so see how much we can lag it out. Really need to work on the optimization later too. All right. Well, yeah, I think I'll take that advice. George, thanks for hopping on. Good luck with the rest of your Friday over there, and I hope you enjoy your holiday. Yeah, particles are costly. I'm going to need to move away from particles. Not the best idea. And then Code Man, thanks for helping out, and thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you next time. I'll talk to you in Discord about the Game Jam stuff too. So, all right, everyone, whatever it is you're working on out there, I hope you have fewer bugs than I do. So, thanks for watching.